Hi guys, so it is the week before my favorite holiday. It is the week before Halloween, so that means we have another creepypasta. Luckily, there were 5 Wednesdays in October, so you guys got 5 creepypastas. I think last year we only had 4, so we have 5 this year. So this is probably one of the more well-known ones. This is called the Rake. This one kind of freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger reading these for the first time, this one kind of freaked me out. But I've never really read the full thing. I've only really seen the picture, and I remember the end of the story, but I don't, I skimmed some. I'm still trying to find the original Slenderman story I read. I'm still trying to find that, but there have been so many variations. I'm still trying to find if the original one I read was there. If not, then next year I'll just read the most recent one. But I swear to God, I want to try to find the one I read. I remember how that one ends. But anyway, let's read the Rake. I always tell you guys, or I'm trying to tell you guys how long these stories are. So this is 9 minutes. So get a snack, a drink, like you could for the other one last week, because that was long. I read that over a span of days, guys. Like, that was long. Anyway. As the sun begins to set and the trees huddle together in small dark groups as if shielding themselves against the coming of night, you step quietly and quickly through the carpet of fallen leaves and stray twigs, recognizing and noting as you do every rustle, every snap of a branch created by your own footfalls. You note them so that you can distinguish them from the other sounds, the soft rustling of leaves, the crack of bracken somewhere behind you. You increase your speed, knowing that night is not the only thing drawing closer. The sound increases as your pace and heartbeats quicken. You turn and in the fading light catch a single glimpse of the hunched, crawling thing that is pursuing you, creeping forward like an animal and yet looking so horribly human. You only caught a single glimpse, but then you start to run. One glimpse is enough. So that was the introduction. Now here's the actual story. Here's the actual story. The Rake creepypasta. If you saw a cut, I didn't want to read what this note is, but basically it starts with a note of this man saying that he can't live because of seeing the Rake. Like, he can't go on after he's seen the Rake. So that's how it starts. Found in the same wooden box were 2 empty envelopes addressed to William and Rose, and 1 loose personal letter with no envelope. Dearest Linny, I have prayed for you. He spoke your name. A journal entry translated from Spanish, 1880. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow, black. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand. I will not sleep. His voice. Unintelligible text. A mariner's log, 1691. He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again at the request of the Rake. And then that picture that freaks me out. From a witness, 2006. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for the 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving. So my husband and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he got out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and pulled his feet up from the end of the bed, so quickly his knee almost knocked me out of the bed. He then grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for a half second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, there was what appeared to be a naked man, or a large hairless dog of some sort. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed, and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds, or probably closer to 5, it just seemed like a while, just looking at my husband. The creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway leading to the kids' rooms. This is the part I remember. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on the wall and saw my daughter Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly injured and spoke only once more in her short life. She said, "He is the Rake." My husband drove his car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. He did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, and the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now referred to as the Rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believed to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages and never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the Rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of a series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led us to wonder if the Rake had visited any of us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the 2nd week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep, while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. This took almost an hour every day. Sorry guys, there are a lot of advertisements. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it yet. All I know is that I've heard it before, and I now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason the voice on the recorder immediately brings me back to that moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head made me very upset, or make me very upset. I have not seen the Rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know and fear that one night I'll wake up to see him staring at me. Guys, that was insane. I have never gotten through the full story. I just knew of the Rake, like, doing shit, because the Rake is shit. But, yeah, that's crazy. Why do you think I read these in the broad daylight? Anyway, so that was the Rake. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know, again, if you guys want me to read any certain creepypastas that I haven't read already. You guys can go through my playlist and see which ones I've read, which ones I haven't read. And you guys can let me know down below which ones you want me to read. Yeah. Let me know what you guys are going to be for Halloween next week. If you guys are dressing up for Halloween, I always want to know. And maybe next week, because it's the week of Halloween, I might read the last creepypasta in my Halloween costume. I think I'm going to do that. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!